We're broadcasting from the Middle Tennessee Electric Studios.
Visit MTE.com.
Middle Tennessee Electric, serving to make life better since 1936.
This is the WGNS Action Line. Talking with Rutherford County newsmakers
since 1947.
This is the WGNS Action Line. Now, your host, Scott Walker.
This morning in studio, we have with us Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue Chief Mark McCluskey. How are you this morning?
Hey, doing good, Scott. How are you this morning?
I'm good. I was kind of surprised at the cooler weather out there this morning.
Yeah, a little cool this morning, but for the past few days, it's been pretty nice, though.
It's felt pretty good out there.
Yes, it has.
So what all is happening, and have you guys been responding to anything big or unusual lately?
Just, some of the same old calls. We've had a few little house fires here in the last couple of 3 weeks. Springtime's on us right now, doing a lot of training going on right now and moving right along.
When y'all do the training, do you do most of it at the Doug Young Training Center there?
We do. That is a training facility when we're doing some hands-on operations, like maybe some live burns or different things. I know we utilize that facility quite a bit, but we also have other areas that we train at too.
That is where folks driving by may suddenly see a fire spark up and
exactly,
be a little concerned.
Yes. I think most people have gotten used to it in our community now. When they see a little smoke over it, they don't think much about it. But I remember when we first opened, we'd see a little smoke and we'd get phone calls.
So phone calls have kind of died down about that, I guess.
Yes, for sure.
That's good. Yeah, that's an area where there's a lot happening. I mean, you got the sheriff's office nearby and across the street, and then you guys have a pretty big area to train in there.
We do. It's a big, nice area. We was really fortunate how it worked out. It used to be some government housing apartments in there. We was able to save some of those buildings, and we utilized those, do drills inside of them.
Those are like the old school government housing with like brick block walls,
yes,
and linoleum
exactly.
Flooring and all that.
Yes, it's on a slab. The walls are block, and so it really works good.
Does that burn very easily? Because I couldn't imagine it really catching on fire other than the roof.
Yeah, the roof is usually asphalt and wood members structures, but the contents of the apartments is what you got to worry about.
Yeah. And again, our phone number, if you want to text in any questions, feel free to do so. The number is 615-893-1450. And I know I always ask you, but this time of year, as we're heading into those warmer months, what are the biggest things you're seeing?
Well, more people are getting out and being active. We're having some not issues, but we have your typical greenway falls. Maybe people need help on the greenway because they're out doing more stuff. Motorcycles are a big thing. They're out and about now. It seems like the motorcycle wrecks go up, some sports injuries and stuff like that. But also with the barbecuing season, cooking out, we'll have grill fires and stuff like that also.
What are some of the, more interesting or different calls you've responded to in the recent months?
Oh, now you kind of put me on the spot here. I can't think of any unusual right now at this time. I'm sure one will pop up here, but you just never know what you're going to run into. But it's mostly we have just our same typical calls,
I guess what keeps the job fun and interesting is that really no two calls are alike.
Never. Mm-mm.
You never can tell what you're going to get out there.
That is true. You never know till you get there and see what you got.
4th of July, you may run into a gunshot victim because somebody shot a gun up in the air, and who knows where the bullet came.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So all kinds of craziness out there and different things happening day to day. I mainly, I guess, car wrecks? Is that the biggest thing?
We have several car wrecks, a lot of medical calls. The more populated we get, the more calls that we do have in medical. Right now, stats show that 1 in 9 people in our city will call 911 in a year's time.
Man, that's a lot.
You add that number up, it's quite a bit.
Yeah, and of course we're growing every single day.
Yes, and we're seeing that now. I'm getting some data, taking it up this year, trying to just see what we might need to do. But we're having our fire stations are located out through the city to where the response times are good in the territory they cover. But what is going on right now in some of our districts is they're so busy, they're always on a call, so we're having to bring other pieces of equipment over into their district to cover some of their calls.
And I know one of the newest fire departments that is being built is right there on Veterans Parkway near Shores
Yes.
Lane or Shores Road.
Yes.
Close to 840.
Yes, it is. Of course, if you go by there, you see a big pile of dirt where we're moving it in now. That's the dirt where they're doing the Veterans Park. They're moving that dirt over there, so they're just going ahead and bringing it over to build our slab.
And for new fire departments, I know you talked about this in the past, but you have to put in an order for new fire trucks way in advance.
Exactly. We just recently ordered 3. One of them we had a spot held in line, so it's going to get here pretty quick in like 24 to 28 months. But the other 2 that we ordered, we're looking at 3 years on getting those.
Man, 24 months is quick.
Yes, very quick. But we knew that we were going to be purchasing a fire truck, so our representative who we bought the trucks from was able to go ahead and put us a spot in like we had already ordered it, so it was already being started in the line, then we eventually got it.
When you decide, I guess, when you're looking at older trucks, how do you go about deciding when one needs to be replaced?
Well, we're on a 15-year replacement plan, so we look into the future to see when we need to order those trucks and at what time, but we generally get about 15 years of use out of them. Then we can keep them an additional 5 years as a reserve piece of equipment for backup.
So after that 5-year period runs out, what do you do with the old fire trucks?
Okay, so when they're over 20 years or so, we do have one right now that's in pretty good shape that we use at our training facility. We're able to leave it there at all times. We have in the past donated a couple of them to Eagleville's fire department, and sometimes when it gets to that point, we'll trade them in also too.
The fire department has really evolved. I mean, from, what they used to do, 30 years ago is different from what they do today.
Oh, completely. Just talking about our fire trucks, the way they operate now is just totally different the way it used to be. Everything years ago was all mechanical. If you had something that go wrong, you might be able to override it by doing something yourself, but now it's all computerized. When you have an issue, it's got to go to the shop and get hooked to a computer to get fixed.
It's wild how everything automotive has changed dramatically.
It is. It's a better system now with it being computerized and stuff, but when something does happen, that's more aggravating to kind of get it fixed.
For most problems, are you able to fix them locally? I mean, your mechanic who I guess works on all the fire trucks, are they able to fix most of the issues?
Most of the stuff, our fleet services run by Tommy Miller, they do a great job down there. They do all of our regular maintenance service, but there's some stuff that when it breaks down, they're able to fix. Sometimes we have to send it back or a factory rep comes and works on that part. But also in that too, a lot of the manufacturers have a class that they'll put on for the mechanics, let them go for a week or 2 at their facility and learn how to work on stuff also.
Do fire trucks come with like a warranty like a regular car does?
They do. They usually come with a 12-month warranty. The miles is usually unlimited on the warranty because you never really put that many miles on them. We just had to replace a transmission in one that was, I believe, just out of warranty by 3 months or so. But the miles is like hardly any miles what should have wore a transmission out.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I guess I never really thought about it, but they're staying in whatever area they're zoned for each station usually, and so that keeps them within 3 miles usually.
Yeah, within 3. Well, we're in a 5-mile radius usually, but most calls shouldn't be over 3 miles from the station. Then you come back. It's not a lot of miles you put on them, but it's the stopping and going. Those trucks. We've talked about this, and as a matter of fact, the engineers have looked at trying to do something different with the diesel motors. A diesel motor is made to get on the road and run. So now with all the EPA and government restrictions on these motors, they're set up to get on the interstate and run clean. But we're not getting the motor up to those high temperatures for a long time, and it with the DEF fuel, that's a factor there. So they're made to run, and we don't run them like a tractor and trailer down the interstate.
Yeah.
That puts on 1,000 miles in a week.
Are all the fire trucks diesel for the most part?
Yes, they are.
That makes sense. I mean, of course, you see some of these semi trucks out there, and they'll have like 1 million miles on them.
Oh yes, they will, and that's what's strange is we'll be rebuilding the engine with 100,000 miles on it. Then there's a tractor trailer with the same engine that's got 800,000 miles on it, still going right along. It's just the way we drive them.
That starting and stopping all the time, I guess, is harder on the engine.
Mm-hmm.
In the fire halls themselves, they leave the doors open, ready to go whenever a fire call comes in. How do you set that up?
Yes, well, each station will do it whatever way they particularly like. Some of the stations may keep the door shut just to give them more room to walk around in the bay, but everybody sets their equipment and the way they want to get on the truck in their own certain way, just to where they're fast and efficient and getting in and getting out.
How have the fire stations changed over the years? Because I remember years ago it used to be like, well, all the firemen sleep in the same room with, each had a bed.
Yes.
And that was about it.
It has changed over the years, and some of our stations are still generally like that. We've come in, as far as in the bedrooms, a lot of sleep studies are based around firemen. They do a lot of studying how it affects us getting up and down and how we sleep and stuff. But our bedrooms, we have come in and put dividers in between our beds. Our new station is going to be individual bedrooms. Station 4 is generally built like that. It don't have doors. It has curtains to give people more privacy into sleeping. And if one truck goes out in the station, it doesn't bother the other truck's crew that may be sleeping. Over the years, the changes on the stations, though, that's happened is like the way we're toned out now. When I first started, we didn't even have 911 at the time, and there was an alarm line that people would call. And if someone called that number, it was an emergency line, it would ring a bell in every station. So everybody heard that alarm go off. Then you had to wait to see, is this us or whatever, or it might have been a wrong number, and they would say something over the radio, and every station would acknowledge that they heard that. Or you're sitting there waiting, and you hear your truck number called out, no tones, you just heard that one little bell that was ringing is all you heard. Now it's all computerized. Works off of AVL. Wherever the call's at, it picks up the closest fire truck. It automatically sends that tone to the fire station to send them out, automatically dispatches. It's a lot of difference in the technology nowadays.
That's got to make it a little bit easier, at least on getting some sleep.
It is, and it's all based around that, a lot of to make sure that when you are getting rest, it's good quality rest.
And it's good that the rooms are somewhat divided now, because I can just imagine, you've got some who snore. I mean,
Yes.
that would be rough.
Yes, we do. When you said that snoring, we had one of the guys, he's retired now and moved on, but his nickname was Cover Shaker. He was such a big snorer. That's how he got his nickname, was Cover Shaker. Yeah, it's even also in that alerting system, there's studies how it affects your stress level, your heart, on just what kind of tone is going off. Years ago, you think the louder the better, blow them out of the bed, we got a fire call. Well, not even knowing that at the time, but when that alarm was going off, it was just doing something to your body and your heart, just that a rush of adrenaline thinking it's going to be you or something or whatever. Now we use different tones that are more smoothing but do awake you but don't startle you.
That's fascinating. I never even thought about that.
Yes.
When you look at some of the different fire departments across the country, some of them have schedules that are totally different from what you have, to where somebody may work a 24-hour shift. The next day they work a 12-hour shift. I don't know how your body would ever get used to that.
But, I was on 24 hours on 48 for so many years. It's like started when I was 18. I really didn't know what a 40-hour week, what it was. And now that I am on an 8-hour day, I can tell a big difference, sleeping at home every night and knowing that when I'm sleeping, the alarm's going to be going off. I'm getting up at any time, and I do get better sleep. Getting a little bit older, too, so it matters. Back when early 20s and 30s, it's like, hey, I'm good. Let's go all night long. Now it's not like that. But, yes, it's a big factor. Your body's not designed to go to bed and get up 3 times in the middle of the night with your adrenaline going down the road to a call and come back and lay back down and go to sleep. It's just, it's not designed to do that. So there's been a lot of study done on how the sleep affects us.
Chief McCluskey is with us this morning. So are there some days where, overnight will be extremely busy, and then the daytime hours may slow down a little bit where they're allowed to go back and get a little more rest?
Yes, each station's a little bit different. You got some stations that don't do a whole lot during the day, but when it gets dark, they're going to run all night long, and vice versa with other stations. And we have the stations that are constantly running during the day and night, just depending on what territory they're in.
So some of the stations that see more calls during the day, are they mainly commercial calls, or they're...
Yeah, the populated areas, like the downtown area here, they will run all day and night.
Man.
Then you take another station, let's say Florence Road, they'll make maybe a call or two during the day, not too bad. And at night, they know if they get a call at night, it's one of our slower stations too, but if they get a call at night, it's usually pretty serious. They don't have a lot of calls come in, or just, I don't want to say they're not that bad where you just go over and run them to the hospital. But usually when they get a medical call at night, it's something serious. It's just the population out there, they don't call an ambulance unless they really need one.
One of the questions we had texted in is asking about firefighters from different areas who move to this area to somewhat retire, and they will end up coming here, I guess, from other larger city fire departments. It says places like LA and also places like New York. Do you get a lot of firefighters who come here who may be a little older, who start working at the Murfreesboro Fire Department throughout, those last years before they retire?
Not that often. A lot of your larger departments, like you mentioned LA and New York, those guys, they'll put in their 20 years and they're done. We've had a couple over the years of retired firefighters or work several years somewhere then come here that I remember, but we don't really have somebody that leaves a big department that comes here to slow down and retire. But we do have several younger firefighters that have come from different places.
The cost of living in those areas is so high. I mean, I would probably want to move somewhere like Murfreesboro.
Yes, LA has I think they do a 4872 or maybe a 2472, and a lot of their firefighters commute by flying.
Really?
They will fly in, work their shift, and fly home and have 3 days off, wherever it may be. They don't live in the area. So that happens more than you would think.
They must pay a lot in order to afford that flight going there and coming back every day, or every few days.
Well, in your bigger cities, usually they do pay more, but the cost of living is a lot more. So if you're not living there, so maybe I would hate to be doing that, but I know there are people that do it.
Yeah, like a 1,200 square foot house here in LA may cost you $1.2 million.
Exactly.
I can't imagine that kind of stress of paying those types of bills and mortgages.
Well, I remember a firefighter come visit us right after 9/11. I think the mayors had a convention each year they would go to, but that year after 9/11, they chose each city to send a firefighter to their city and didn't have the convention. So this firefighter, he was stationed at South Bronx in New York there, and we were talking, and he said he works a part-time job just to pay his taxes on his house each year. They were so expensive.
Wow.
So that was what his part-time job was, just to pay his taxes on his house.
As Murfreesboro gets more and more expensive, and Rutherford County, the prices go up there as well. What do you foresee happening in the future with firefighters who actually live in this area?
It seems like it has gotten better. We used to have a lot of, I say a lot, but firefighters that would move to this area, they would get a job here and maybe move to Manchester and buy a house, or Woodbury, a little bit further out where they couldn't. But we're starting to see now a lot of them are staying here in Murfreesboro.
Well, and I guess with a lot of their schedules, that gives them the ability to live a little further away because they're able to commute in for, what is it, a 2-day shift?
Well, we work 24 hours, then we're off for 48 hours. So you work 1 day and off 2.
So I could see where you could live a little bit further away.
You could. You don't have to make that commute every day. Some people may look at that as like, oh, they don't work very much, but that average is 58 hours a week that we're at work. So,
yeah, because you're there 24 hours.
24 hours.
That's a lot. And if you're at one of the stations where you're getting calls all day, all night, that would be rough.
It is, and there's some people that enjoy that, and we got some that don't particularly want to be at that station.
Is every station a little different? I mean, overall, or are there, certain guidelines that each of the stations do follow?
They all follow the same guidelines as far as a fire station, what they can do and what they do. But the difference in the stations are where they're located at and what type of geographical area they are in. Some calls like, Station 2 out here on Church Street, it runs a lot of these plants over here off of Butler Drive and stuff, and they deal with a lot of hazard material out there with the cooling systems and what's going on as far as what they're producing out there. Then you got your downtown area like here. You got your downtown area that's busy during the day. At night, they're still busy at night. Just a lot going on in the downtown area. Then, you got Station 9 out on Cason Lane. It's kind of busy during the day because it covers all the shopping malls. Then at night, it slows down a little bit. So, each station is a little different, but they're all basically are the same.
And then you have those calls where you're going to some type of a crime scene or where there's police activity going on. How do you go about ensuring when's the right time to go in for that patient, especially if it's a shooting incident? How do you decide when to go in?
That's where our dispatchers do such a good job. They take the call and what's going on. I think it was either yesterday or maybe even Saturday. I heard it on the radio. It was possibly a gunshot, a GSW. But the thing about it, our dispatchers let our crews know on the way, we think this is maybe a gunshot, whether it's accidental or whatever it may be, or a crime. They're not sure if the scene is secure, so they will have us to stage. And the police department arrives on the scene and gets the situation as far as the gun under control. Then we come in. We communicate with police and fire and EMS all together on the scenes. So
when you're staging for that event, for that call, are you like right around the corner, or what do you?
Yes, we'll find a place nearby that we feel safe, depending on what type of situation it is. If somebody's running around with a rifle, you might get a little bit further back. But if somebody's in the backyard and they say they got a little pocket knife, you might get a little closer, just depending on the situations. And a lot of times in those situations, this is what makes it hard for our dispatchers to determine. You may have we used to see this a lot until we changed some policies and stuff. You'd have a mother with a new baby and they start having a seizure. If you've never seen this and it's your first kid, you're going to freak out.
Yeah.
The parents are. So with the tone of voice and the way they're acting, they're not sure if something is going on in the house because it's hard to tell what's going on. So that's how you need to stage. And after looking at several of those calls and stuff, we figured out, hey, it's the chances of something going on that's unsafe for us is very slim when it's a baby having a seizure. It's just the way that they present themselves when they make that 911 call.
That would be a scary call for the parents. I mean,
yeah,
gosh.
for sure.
Does that kind of stuff happen more often than what people may imagine?
Oh, yeah, it happens every day, as far as, somebody having seizures. But, it seems like at first one or two times that a newborn or young kids having them, the parents are not familiar with them. Then we make some medical calls to where it's a serious call, but the parents are very calm, can give you everything you need to know, and sometimes are better with the patient than we are because it might be with their children, it's something they've dealt with for years and know how to take care of it.
We had an interesting question here. It says that they work at a big factory, and one of the nights in recent months, one of the workers acted like they were seriously injured by acting like they were passing out. And then they even went as far as what they said was faking a seizure. Do you have calls like that on occasion? And what do you do in those circumstances when you check their vitals and everything seems perfect?
Well, there's certain things we can do to see if they may be possibly faking it. Yeah, a lot of people, that's an easy one that people try to fake. We got ways of checking them to see for sure. Of course, if we have any doubt, we're going to try to get them transported to make sure to the ER. But there's things you can do. Everybody's probably seen this before, where you can take and drop their hand on their face, and if they don't hit their face, they're faking because people are not going to.
Yeah.
But we have
instinctively they avoid the face.
Certain questions you asked, and they'll answer them. It's like they think you're going to ask them questions where everything's going to be yes,
Yeah.
yes. I'm so bad off. Please take me out of here. And surprisingly, we don't. Well, I'm not on the streets like I used to be, but we used to have a few that would do that pretty regular.
Really?
Yes, and it was just an attention thing for them.
That's interesting. I mean, and as we grow, as we get more, factories that have 24-hour shifts, you're going to have more people that don't want to come into work
Yes.
that day, and they figure something out, I guess, sometimes.
Yes, they think. Yeah, it's not saying that they don't need it, but we've had places to where you may have a smell in the building, and it's like everybody in there that wants to go home has a headache and their eyes are burning. And, not saying that people are doing it all the time, but we have seen that. And it's like, it is a smell in here. Y'all take the rest of the day off.
Yeah. I mean, do you have instruments to check?
Oh, yes. We have all kind of monitors we bring in and check, to check the air for so many things.
That's fascinating that you sometimes run across workers who fake their own, incident just to get out of work. I mean, that's got to be kind of awkward at times.
Yeah, well, I mean, we don't judge them. We just there's nothing going on here. You may have a headache and your eyes are burning, so that's up to you and your employer.
There's not much you can do.
No, here, your air is good.
Do you offer them? Do you say, do you want us to call an ambulance for you?
Oh,
What do you-
well, if we have something like it going on, the ambulance is already on the scene, but we'll check all their vitals
Yeah.
and everything to make sure,
That's got to
for
be
sure.
crazy.
We're not just going to think somebody's faking and walk off from them. If somebody says they got something going on, we're going to check them
Yeah.
early, to make sure.
To make sure. When you have those other calls that are true incidents where somebody maybe they had a heart attack or something like that at work, the life-saving capabilities today, those two are a lot different when compared to years past.
Yes, very much so. Our AED that a lot of people purchase on their own and have saved many lives here in town. And the people getting trained on CPR, which as a matter of fact, talking about that, the sign-ups are open right now. If you go on to our website, from the city's website through the city of Murfreesboro, we're offering a free CPR class for our citizens here, and you got to sign up for it. And I think the class is at the end of May, but that usually fills up pretty quick, but it's a good thing to take.
And that life-saving class of CPR, I mean, that can literally save a life. I don't know, out of, however many residents we have, I don't know how many have come across or seen an incident where somebody passed out. Maybe they had a heart attack or maybe it was something else. But when you see that for the first time, it is pretty startling.
Oh, it is, for sure. For sure, it's something you never get used to watching somebody there lifeless, and you're the one that's going to depend on to give them any kind of chance of living.
Now, do they still teach mouth-to-mouth CPR, or is that no longer proven to really do that much?
Well, it's a last resort, but there are also studies showing just giving chest compressions will move air in and out of them too. So it's taught different ways in different situations, but normally there's you want to protect yourself, from mouth to mouth. There's a little pocket mask you can get now. There's several things out there on the market for that.
How often is somebody's life saved and, they were literally deceased when you got there, but yet you were able to bring them back and, they were rushed to the hospital and a complete turnaround happened?
It happens more than you think. Now, overdosing is a little bit different story. You take Narcan and bring them right out of it, which the drugs are what made their heart stop and their stop breathing, and the Narcan will reverse that effect and they'll come back around. But now, as far as just an actual heart attack, someone that's not caused by drug use or anything like that, you'll be surprised how many times if they get that quick CPR, AED, chances. I mean, their chances. I'm not sure. There's several people here in town. You probably have seen the stories on where they come back and thank all the emergency workers for doing it. We just had one not long ago. Actually, ended up being the stepfather of one of our employees that works over at local store here in town. They did not have an AED, but one of the employees inside of the store knew that the store next door had one, ran over and got it. They come back, put the AED on, it delivered the shock, and he's home right now doing well.
Wow. And how often or how much time is it like a safe time zone to get to somebody who is either having a heart attack or just had one?
Well, around 6 minutes, your brain will start dying off without oxygen. So you need to get it within that period of time. Now, we have had successful saves that might have been longer than that. And sometimes they have some effects afterwards, if we do save them. But if you can get that early CPR and AED in, the chances are a whole lot better for surviving and being normal after survival.
I guess the longer the brain goes without oxygen, the more chances you have of having some serious aftermath conditions.
Correct.
And so these days, now, does the Murfreesboro Fire Department also have one of those device? What is it called, a Lucas device or something?
We do. We carry them on every one of our pieces of equipment, which is it delivers very effective and consistent CPR compressions.
So you can keep that on them, all the way to the hospital.
Yes, takes just a few seconds to hook it up. It's more to it than just a plunger. It's got sensors and stuff, and how deep to go, and the timing of it. You just hit go after you get it set up, and it sits there and gives very accurate and consistent chest compressions.
Now, I know some of the AED devices that are on the market that people can buy and have at their house. It actually, once you put the pads on their chest, it will tell you, it detects a heartbeat or doesn't detect a heartbeat. The equipment you use, does that also do the same?
It does. Ours are a little bit more sophisticated. You can print out a strip on what the heart's doing. It's a 12 lead that we hook to them and read the heart a lot more better than what an AED does. An AED is just working through the pads. It's sensing that heartbeat, what type of heartbeat you got, and whether it needs to be shocked. So when you put it on them, the AED will talk you through it all. If you're doing chest compressions, you put the AED pads on, then the AED will say, stop compressions, analyzing.
Yeah.
And it'll come back and says, stand clear, shock advised. It will give the shock. Then another second or two later, it says continue CPR or stop CPR.
One of the calls that I would guess would be harder is when it's like a newborn and you got to do CPR on that baby. I mean, that's a rough situation to be in.
It's very difficult. And when it's going on, you don't think much about the emotional part of it, because especially people that have kids, you go in there and you do your job. Do what you can do to save that baby. Then after it's over with, that's when it hits you.
Many times the babies are saved.
Yes, for sure. Yes, the younger like that, the better. The chances are, you take an infant, something's going on with their heart, and you bring them back for CPR. It's probably got a better survival rate than somebody that's 85, 90 years old that goes into cardiac arrest for sure.
Well, we'll get to this next question, and then we'll take a break. But this question, it asks, do you know when the engine on South Church will get repaired from the wreck that happened several weeks ago?
The one on South Church, they're on a standby. It sounds like one of our guys asking them. They're ready for the truck back, maybe. It's It takes a little while depending on the extent of the damage. It's not like we can just run it down here to your local body shop and let them fix it. It's if parts got to be ordered and stuff like that, it takes a little while. We have seen several months on getting those repaired.
What happened? I don't remember the accident.
Matter of fact, I can't remember exactly, but it was just not that serious of an accident. I'm not sure how it actually happened. I was just told that we had an accident and not that bad, so I'm not real sure exactly what. I don't want to say.
We're going to take a short break, and then we'll come back, and we'll try to get to your question. Our number to text in, 615-893-1450. Again, with us this morning, Fire Chief Mark McCluskey from Murfreesboro Fire and Rescue. We'll be right back.
till sweet jam will be red. Good food, good folks, flavors that shine from winter's chill to spring sunshine. Every Friday, feel the spark. Rutherford County Market at Lane Agri Park.
Local farmers with local meats, vegetables, and other produce at the Winter Spring Rutherford County Farmers Market every Friday through April.
You'll find it there from frost to boundless seas and sing. We're winter tough and welcoming spring. So bundle up and make your way every Friday at Lane Agri Park.
At the Lane Agri Park in Murfreesboro.
The Action Line on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at WGNSradio.com.
With us this morning in studio, we have Murfreesboro Fire Chief Mark McCluskey. If you have any questions, feel free to text those in 615-893-1450. This next question, it says, I have often wondered why a fire engine and several firefighters are sent, it says, to get a lady up and out of a chair. Does that kind of stuff happen a lot?
It does, but you got to remember, we're a team. We just don't send one person to the call. When we respond to help somebody, it may take 1, 2, 3 people to do it.
Yeah.
But on that call, you respond on your piece of equipment with your crew, because you never know, on the way back you may catch another call. That's just the way we operate. We stay together as a team.
That makes sense. And I guess in reality, you don't know what exactly. Is it going to be the same call we got last time where she just needs help getting out of a chair, or is it where she needs help because she had a heart attack or suffering from a stroke,
yes,
or who knows what?
Exactly. That's a big thing. We kind of say, we got somebody that fell. Well, most people in their minds like, oh, they tripped in the yard and they fell. They, may hurt their leg. But what made them fall? Did they fall from a heart attack or a stroke, or did they trip on a hoe in the yard? You just don't never know.
I remember it was a number of years back, somebody, I think they slipped and fell in the shower or something like that, and they ended up actually passing away about 2 weeks later, but it was because of that fall in the shower.
Yes, it does happen.
Especially when you're older.
To kind of answer that question too, we're going to come prepared expecting the worst, and if we do have the worst, we're going to need people there. And every situation is different, but we're going to respond as a team. But
the one who is making that phone call, they want to see that. They want to see there's more than one firefighter out there, because they don't, they may be scared.
Yes, true. Like I said, we respond as a team, but we do have a lot of people in our city that have a personal relationship because of people that they've went to quite a bit, to where they exchange phone numbers, to where it doesn't go through the 911 system. If somebody were to fall or need help getting up, they'll give them a call. Because as the people get older, they kind of go in that denial. I don't need somebody to stand with me. I don't need to go to a assisted living or whatever. And it takes a few times with the fire department or other people coming to assist them to say, oh, well, maybe I do.
Yeah.
And we don't want anybody that's needing that help not to get that help, whether they're calling the station and say, hey, I'm having trouble getting up, or if they are calling 911.
There's a lot of elderly folks out there who live alone, and they just may not recognize themselves that they may need more help than what they think.
They do. And I'm just going to answer, there are a lot of folks. You don't think much about it because you only maybe have a couple of sets of grandparents. It's like, oh, well, they're doing good, but there's a lot of people that are not.
Yeah.
You take a town of this size of 170,000 plus people, there's a lot of sick people in this town that we help.
And again, with us this morning, Murfreesboro Fire Chief Mark McCluskey, and we appreciate you joining us today.
Yes, glad to be here.
The Recycled Minute with our own Rocky the Raccoon. He's in Murfreesboro today, teaching us all to recycle right, Tennessee style.
I love coming up with new ideas to share with my friends.
Here's Rocky.
You know how kids are always getting hurt, and Us adults too, I know that. Yeah, okay, anyway, after you recycle the majority of bottles at the end of the month, you know, the plastic ones that you use to hold water with, or the bottles that sodas come in, set a few aside, fill them up with water, and then put them in the freezer. That way you always have a reusable ice pack on hand if you ever get hurt. Maybe you fall, bruise your leg up or something. Not to worry, because you got a fresh ice pack in the fridge just waiting for that injury. I'll be thinking of some more ideas to share with you next time. For RecycleRightTN.com, I'm Rocky the Raccoon.
And that's today's Recycled Minute with Rocky the Raccoon. Find the closest place to recycle by going to RecycleRightTN.com.
The Atlanta Braves are on FM 101.9 and AM 1450, Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. I'm Ben Ingram. Your home of the Braves is WGNS.
From lift kits to tires, Tire World has the experts and the knowledge to get it done.
This is Gator with Tire World Off-Road. We're your local rough country dealer. So when you're ready to add some character to your rig, ask for Gator at Tire World on Memorial Boulevard.